What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Rich Off Games podcast, episode 3. It's your boy CB. Happy Money Mondays, y'all, and happy early Thanksgiving. Hope everybody's tuned in, watching this, is having a great start to their week so far. Me, I'm having a mixed week, start to the week so far because my Eagles, they lost yesterday, man. It's upsetting, but it's all good. You know, we still number one in the division, so it is what it is. But with that being said, before we get started, disclaimer, you guys, make sure to do your own research. This is not financial advice. Take your time to do your research and do your due diligence. With that being said, let's get to it, y'all. So, being broke is a mindset. These are 5 ways to change the way you think. Start out with number 1. Stop thinking about how much something costs and start thinking about how much value that thing gives you. All right. So what is value? To me, value is something you can't really put a price on it. It's something that brings you back a good return of experience, whether that's an actual experience with something. So for example, I'm going on a cruise and I'm paying a price to go on a cruise or going to a game. A return on something good like time. In my opinion, time is very valuable. You can't squander time. You only have so much time on this earth. You don't know how much time you have. That's why it's such an important thing and so valuable. In my opinion, those are things that are valuable. So the price of something should not matter if it gives you a return on a good experience or time that you can get back that you didn't have to yourself, right? So instead of asking ourselves how much something costs, ask yourself, what can this give you a return on, right? Because a lot of times we go into the thought process of a transaction where we're thinking, how much does it cost? No, what can I gain from purchasing this thing? That's how you should be approaching a purchase of such sorts. That way you kind of get a better idea of what it is that you're buying and dictating and determining how much value that thing gives you. So stop thinking about the cost of something and start thinking about the return it gives you on the value it gives you back, right? Invest in yourself, put things that invest in you and your family first. Don't buy things that are not benefiting you in the long term or in the short term. Number 2, stop thinking in scarcity. A lot of people that think, oh, I don't have enough money for this thing, I can't afford it, this and that. Start thinking about how can I afford this? What are ways I can do? What are things I can do to make more money to be able to afford this thing? When you think in scarcity, it eliminates the idea of thinking about ways to create and produce more. You don't think in abundance when you're thinking in scarcity. You think in a way of limitation, right? So stop thinking in limitation and start thinking in creation and ways you can create more for yourself, and not only yourself, but your family. Because there's a world of abundant opportunity out here. There's plenty of opportunity. If you get on your phone and you scroll on TikTok or Instagram, you'll see so many different things going on in so many different ways, and what people just have a lot going on in this, especially in today's society. So for you to think scarcity, it's putting you at a disadvantage because you're setting yourself up for failure. You're just not allowing yourself to grow or see, new opportunities and new results. So thinking in scarcity, you got to cut that out and you got to start thinking in abundance. When you think in abundance, it allows you to be more proactive and be more productive and creative in ways you can come up with new ideas to do new things, right? And before we continue, make sure you guys are subscribed. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you guys are sharing and liking this audio. If you're listening to it on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon, I'd really appreciate it. We're a growing brand, so we're still growing and getting our recognition. So with that being said, let's continue. Number 3, remove yourself from broke environments. Being around negative people, being around people who aren't growing or stagnant or anything that's negative or causing distraction in what you're trying to pursue, remove yourself from that environment. Why? The reason why you want to do that is because you won't be able to progress any further than you already have doing the things you're already doing and in the space that you're already in. But if you remove yourself from that environment, you place yourself in a new environment, right? Now you're opening yourself up to a new battlefield, a new playground, a new space for new opportunities and new things to come about. And you want to be surrounded by people who are not negative thinkers, but are positive thinkers, and who are big thinkers, people who take big risks, or who do things that normal people or people that think negatively would not do, because it then allows you to rub off on that person and gives you the energy and the motivation and probably the drive to want to do something big yourself. But being around negative people, 9 times out of 10, that's not going to happen, right? It's just like, for example, there's a story, or there's a video I watched a while ago talking about a certain bug. It can jump a certain height. I think it was a cricket. It can jump a certain height when it's not entrapped in anything or anything like that. But they did a study where they trapped this bug in a jar. They put a lid on top of the jar, and as the bug tried to jump out, it could jump like up to 12 feet or something like that. But as the jar, it was a 6-inch jar. So as the bug tried to jump within the jar, it was only going up 6 inches. It wasn't going 12 feet. It was going 6 inches. Okay. The bug ended up having a baby in the jar, and the bug is born with the ability to jump 12 feet. However, with them being trapped in a 6-inch jar, it only allows them to jump within 6 inches. So what do you think the baby bug ended up doing? The baby bug ended up only jumping 6 inches because it was born into a world where they were entrapped in an environment that only allowed them to jump 6 inches. That comparison is the same thing as if you're living in an environment that's only allowing you to grow within 6 inches. You got to be, and you're born with the ability to go 12 feet, but you can only jump 6 inches within your environment. That's why it's important for you to change your environment, because it allows you to really expand deeper into yourself and be a better version of yourself in different spaces. So change your environment and change your mindset. That'll help you grow into the person that you want to become. Number 4, stop dreaming and develop a real skill. In other words, take action. A lot of people have dreams and ideas of who they want to be or where they want to be or things that they want. But a lot of times the case is that they're simply just not willing to do the things that are required of them to get the result. You got to put in the work, you got to take the actions, and you got to develop the skills that allow you to see these results that you want to see. You have to develop high income producing assets that allow you to get paid a high amount of money for your skills or services that you're providing. So selling is a skill that applies to any facet of life. Okay. Discipline is a habit and a skill that you can equip yourself with that allows you to be disciplined with the journey. And so many other ways and skills that you can learn that can pay you a lot of money, but you have to take the actions to do these things. If you're not taking action to do these things, then 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get the desired result. It's just going to be a dream. It's not going to become a reality for you ever. You have to align your imagination with your intention and decision to take action physically. If you don't align yourself physically with the mental idea of what you want to do, it will never come about. So stop just dreaming and take action. Number 5, move like the person you want to be. That doesn't mean buy the designer bag, buy the expensive car. No. Move like the person you want to be. Like, what type of schedule do you have? What are your daily routines? What are your daily practices? How are you scheduling out your day and delegating your time each and every day? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis that aligns yourself with the person you want to be and the things you want to have? Because a lot of times we say we want these things, but we're not moving. Like I said, we're not taking action. We're not moving in the way that we need to be moving in order to get the results. So if you're a person who wants to be a content creator, but you're only watching the content and you're not making it, how can you expect to become that person? You have to align yourself with making the content, doing the time to take research and study, and getting time to edit the content and post it. Otherwise, it's just a dream and it's just something that you don't really want. You have to align yourself with who you want to be by doing the things that you want to do now. Because if you don't start now, it will never happen. And if you start now, you'll see results. And when you see results, you'll start to progress and get better by the results that you get. And hopefully you get to the desired income that you want, the desired outcome that you want. So these are 5 ways to change being broke mindset into the being wealthy mindset and something that you can do on a long-term scale. Make sure you guys are liking and follow, subscribe for more content. Let's continue moving on with investment tip of the week. Buy when prices are down. So for me, my personal investment strategy is anytime the S&P 500 pulls back more than 10%, I'm normally more than likely accumulating and buying more shares at that period of time. Anytime 10 to 20% of the S&P 500 pulls back, I buy a boatload of shares and a lot more shares than I normally would buy. Why? Because that is a major discount in the market that does not come often. Normally, the market is built to go up. The market is always on the up and up most of the time when trading. So anytime the market does a pullback like that, I'm most likely guaranteed buying some format of shares. And I'm not only just buying the S&P, I'm also looking at individual stocks, because that means if the S&P 500 is down, then the stocks that we like and love in the S&P 500, the individual stocks are also down as well. So I look at those stocks as well, and I buy a bunch of those stocks just because I know that the valuation of these companies are down now, but they will be back up in the future. Why? Because the stock market is built to go up. So that would be, one of the tips I would say be mindful of when buying and selling stocks. You want to buy at discounted price. You want to buy super low and sell really high. That's the name of the game when it comes to trading. And that's the name of the game when it comes to investing. You want to buy low and sell high. Bitcoin, for example. Bitcoin has gone from 100,000 to 20,000, and from 20,000 to 120,000, from 120,000 to 50,000. So it's like you guys have to be mindful of the low points in the market whenever a price is at a discounted price, and whenever it's at a high price, you know whether or not you want to sell or not. Me personally, I plan to hold for the long term, but you guys might want to make the money in the meantime, so you can sell it once you get to those prices. But you have to be patient enough to wait for the price to pull back, because it doesn't happen often. But when it does happen, it's very rewarding, and that would be my investment tip of the week. Speaking of Bitcoin has reached $80,000. Man, I called this back in, I want to say it was August. I was speaking about Bitcoin because we reached a new all-time high of 120,000, and people were panicking like, "Oh my God, I missed it. Is this the bull run? Is it gonna run off? Da 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 da." And I just told people, look, there's always gonna be a pullback, especially with Bitcoin, because the crypto cycle. If you guys look up crypto cycle, you'll see a timeline and a chart showing the crypto cycle from a 4-year time frame, because every 4 years the crypto cycle has a systematic system that has been proven. The last two of the 4 years, so the last 8 years, crypto has shown a consistent cycle. It has a drawdown, meaning it comes down to a low price, then it has a run up that goes to a new price, and then it has another drawdown. It's a consistent cycle every 4 years. And so we're nearing that point with Bitcoin at this current moment. So where can Bitcoin go from here? Well, in my opinion, 80K is not a bad price, and I actually made a short form video on this as well. However, I do think that we can see lower. I think that if we can see 70,000, and if we break 70,000, we can push even lower down to close to 50,000, in my opinion. So if you guys are interested in buying Bitcoin, my recommendation, again, this is not financial advice, would be buy Bitcoin here at 80K, because it's not a bad price. It could go back up, do like a little bounce here and then come back down again. Buy Bitcoin here if you guys want to trade it, or, just get some position in it. As it comes down, you want to continue to invest into it. So 80K, buy some, 70K, buy some, 60K, buy some, 50K, buy some. And just if it keeps going lower, even then, just continue to buy it if you're confident that it will go back up, and if you plan on holding this for the long term. That's what I plan on doing, so I'm just giving you guys my game plan with Bitcoin. But if it does indeed fall lower than 70K, I intend to buy more of it. And that is what I recommend you guys doing as well, because I plan on holding Bitcoin for the next 8 years, if not more. They say that it'll be $1 million. So if you just look at it from over a bird's eye view, right? If they say Bitcoin is going to be worth $1 million and currently it's sitting at 80K, that is literally only less than 10% of the overall price it should be, the projected price that it would be in the future, or should be in the future. Okay, so if you're buying it at this less than 10% of the overall price, don't you think that's a great deal? Especially if you're confident that it will hit $1 million. You know, that's a crazy number, but if it happens, you know, that's very life-changing for a lot of people. So I'm not upset or afraid to buy it at this price, especially if they say that it'll be worth $1 million. That's just my thoughts, my opinion. Comment below what you guys think, but that's that. Moving on. So we're having a little bit of holiday turbulence at the moment in the stock market. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. Those of you who day trade are probably familiar. Last Thursday, I want to say it was the 20th of November, we had a very interesting thing happen in the market. So the market did a dolphin dive. I'm talking about it. You know how you swimming and you out swimming and you go to community pool or something. You got like those big 12-foot diving boards, and then you jump off and you go right in and splash, just water everywhere. That's what happened on Thursday. The market did a dolphin dive backflip. Like you know how you hit your flips and stuff. You at the YMCA or something. You hit your flips off the diving board. Then you splash in the water. The market did a backflip. The market did a 360 backflip off the diving board and went from 675 down to 650. It dropped $25 in one day. $25 in one day. And the reasoning behind this, why the market dropped so low, is because of two reasons. We mentioned it before: the AI bubble and the federal government rate cuts. For those of you who are not aware, the federal government does a federal meeting every quarter of the year, every quarter being every 3 months. And at the end of every quarter, the federal meeting comes together. They discuss the market and the economy, and they determine whether or not they want to raise a rate cut, not raise a rate cut, or drop a rate cut. And the rate cut is essentially the interest rates around the economy that we use for mortgages, car loans, all these other things. So it was expected that the market was expecting a rate cut. And as of right now, it's uncertain whether or not we'll get that rate cut due to the just uncertainty in the economy, the government shutdown happening, and the government opening back up. It's a lot of uncertainty around whether or not we'll get a rate cut. And that's causing a lot of fear, because anytime the market's uncertain, it raises flags and fear for people to be cautious. On top of that, the AI bubble. So the rumor being the AI bubble, us being investors are overly inflating the market and boosting the prices up in the market. All these different things are essentially what's driving the market, what drove the market to sell off the way it did on Thursday. As of today, we actually recovered a little bit from that level. We went from 650, and then we opened today at 660, and we closed out the day at 670. So that's not bad. But we are still holding from a technical level, we are still holding weakness. So what can happen from here? In my personal opinion, we have two scenarios: a worst case scenario and a good case scenario. I'm not gonna say best case scenario because I don't think it's the best case, but worst case scenario, we do indeed have a correction, which is a 10% pullback in the market after the federal government comes out and says that they're not gonna drop the rate cuts, and we have a correction then. Best case scenario, or good case scenario, I wouldn't even say best case scenario, but good case scenario, we don't sell off, we don't get a correction, we end up actually recovering from this pullback, and we see a little bit higher, above 700 maybe, if we get the rate cut. Because what typically happens towards the end of the year is something called a holiday rally. And what a holiday rally is simply when the market, most investors and everybody kind of knows this, but when the market just comes together and just rallies, it literally just goes on a green bull run for the remainder of the year, just to finish out the year strong, to the strongest point possible. So like a lot of new companies, a lot of old companies, and foundational companies in the market finish at strong high prices. And then going into January, that's whenever all the selling happens. So going into December, that is a very, very likely possibility to happen, even with all the fear and uncertainty looming around the market. That is a very realistic possible outcome that we could see happen if we get the rate cut. If we don't get the rate cut, I think it's still possible we can run, just because of the holiday rally is always something that just is always there and always a possibility regardless of what news comes out. And it's kind of like people ignore the news, and then the news gets swept under the rug in December, and then going into January, we open up that rug and we're like, oh, this is going on, sell off. We going down. So that's what I think are the two scenarios that we could happen. The way we're looking right now, we are holding a very downtrending structure, but we are also reclaiming levels that are important as of today. So who knows? It's not a full week of trading. The market won't be open the full week. I think it closes on Thursday, and we have a half day on Friday. So it could not happen this week, and we could actually get a rally back above going into December this week. Actually, the way we close today is very likely, but we also could reject and just bounce in between these levels for the next week. And then going into December, we see that breakout move, and we get a continuation higher. So that's my opinion. That's my thoughts. If you guys do trade or invest and you guys do the research behind those things, comment below what you guys think and let me know your thoughts. But yeah, with that being said, I want to give grace to God as always. You know, I want to give grace to God. I want to say thank you for him always watching over me and blessing me, being there in my life, allowing me to, do the things I'm doing right now. Really amazing things. I want to continue to add value and pour into people. And I love where we're at right now from a personal standpoint, just on a personal level. I love where I'm at right now. And I love where life is right now. I'm very content and just at peace with everything. And I would like everybody watching to also have that sense of peace, because I know that this world that we're in right now is a very crazy, crazy world. And whoever's watching this, I pray and hope that you find peace in your life, and you have that content way about life that is not too stressful, but it's also, it's stressful, but it's like, okay, I know God got me, so I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have my days, There's days where my energy's low, and I think everybody has those days where their energy's just low, and, you got to push through. But once you push through it, it's like the consistency of it kind of helps you feel better about yourself, because you know that it's not just you, it's a higher being that's giving you energy to produce and be creative and do these things that you're doing. So I'm just very thankful for that. And I hope and pray and hope that whoever's watching this also gets that same energy from him. And that's all I got. With that being said, y'all, thank you guys for tuning in to the Rich Off Games podcast, episode 3. It's your boy CB. I will be back again next week. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Oh, let me mention, I'm doing the food drive. I'm gonna be giving out like pizza, drinks, and stuff on Wednesday, so I'm looking forward to that. And I want to give back to some people for the week. I know that Thanksgiving is about being thankful and just celebrating your loved ones, being there with your loved ones, having a good time. So comment below what you guys are thankful for, and I'll make sure to engage with you guys and show some love in the comments. But with that being said, y'all, until next time, y'all stay safe, stay blessed, peace.